Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking an absolute masterclass in relationship psychology and really diving into the profound emotional weight of unspoken affection. We're going to be looking at this beautifully crafted microscript, simply titled They Were in Love. Through just a handful of incredibly brief exchanges between two characters, Aaron and Mia, this story manages to capture the entire life cycle of a romance. But here's the catch. It's a romance that exists almost entirely in the spaces between their words. It's a completely fascinating look at how deeply we can connect with someone, and how, sometimes the most significant things we feel are the exact things we never actually say out loud.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Right at the very beginning of our source material, the narrator sets the stage with this exact opening line. People say love isn't always spoken. Sometimes it hides in silence. I just want to pause for a second and let the profound nature of that quote really settle in. Think about it. We are so culturally conditioned to believe that love is all about grand gestures, sweeping declarations, and loud public confessions, right? But this text immediately flips the script on us. It invites us to look closer, to pay attention to the quiet moments, the awkward hesitations, and the things deliberately left unsaid.
To really grasp this dynamic, we're going to follow a chronological roadmap across three defining scenes. Scene 1 at the park, Scene 2 a few months later, and finally Scene 3, the bittersweet goodbye. So let's kick things off with part 1, the power of silence. In that very first scene, we've got Aaron sitting alone on a park bench, day after day. When Mia approaches and casually asks if he sits there every day, Aaron just smiles and says, "Maybe I'm waiting for someone." Now, what's really interesting about this is how he's practically broadcasting his feelings, but he's doing it through a riddle. Actually, scratch that. It's more than a riddle, it's a shield. It perfectly captures how love can be present right in plain sight without the other person even realizing it. Aaron is actively protecting his own vulnerability by disguising a massive confession as just a casual observation.
And then, when Mia innocently follows up by asking if that person ever shows up, Aaron delivers this absolutely incredible line. Every day. They just don't know it. This specific piece of dialogue brilliantly highlights the bittersweet irony of his daily devotion. Mia just smiles softly, completely oblivious to the fact that she is the subject of the very devotion they are discussing. It's a tragic, yet incredibly beautiful testament to the idea that you can literally be the center of someone's universe and be completely unaware of it, simply because those crucial words haven't crossed the threshold of silence.
That transitions us perfectly into part 2, the meaning of selflessness. Fast forward a few months, and their bond has deepened significantly. During this period, Mia poses a hypothetical question that cuts right to the absolute core of human vulnerability. What if I moved far away someday? I want you to think about that question for yourself. What if the person you care about most suddenly packed up and left? Posing it like this immediately connects the script's narrative stakes with our own shared human fears. The fear of loss, separation, and abandonment. Mia is essentially testing the waters of their friendship here, trying to gauge her own value in Aaron's life. Well, Aaron's response completely defines his mindset. He tells her, "Then I'd be happy knowing you're happy." Based on his actions here in Scene 2, we can see exactly how this elevates his devotion from just mere affection to profound selflessness. He prioritizes her happiness entirely above his own proximity to her. True affection, in Aaron's view, isn't about ownership or possession at all. Let's see how this builds into one of the most resonant lines of the entire text. When Mia seems a bit taken aback by his selflessness, asking, "That's all?" Aaron replies, "Sometimes love is less about having someone and more about seeing them smile." Let the emotional gravity of that sacrifice resonate for just a second. In a world that so often frames romance as something to be won, acquired, or locked down, Aaron's philosophy is radically gentle. He has fully accepted his role as a silent observer to her joy, deciding that her happiness is the ultimate reward, even if it doesn't strictly include him as a romantic partner. And that brings us to the final act, part 3, the bittersweet goodbye. Notice the absolutely heartbreaking juxtaposition here. Mia finally asks the question that has been hanging in the air this whole time. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" Aaron's restraint completely breaks. "Because I loved you." And against this, we see Mia's tearful realization of her own feelings. "Maybe I loved you too." Breaking down this tragic irony is absolutely essential. The very reason Aaron stayed silent, his profound protective love for her, is the exact mechanism that prevented them from being together. The emotional disconnect is just devastating. It's literally like they were standing on opposite sides of a soundproof glass wall, feeling the exact same thing, but completely unable to hear each other, until it was just too late.
The full heavy weight of Aaron's rationale becomes crystal clear right here. He tells her, love isn't always about what we want. It's so vital to slow down and really honor the emotional weight of this moment. Restraining his own desires was, in his mind, his ultimate expression of love. He didn't want to burden her, he didn't want to complicate her life, or risk losing the beautiful, simple friendship they had built. He sacrificed his own want entirely to preserve her peace. Which leads us to our final takeaway. Part 4, love as a feeling.
You know, the story doesn't end with some dramatic kiss in the pouring rain or a sudden change of plans where nobody leaves. Instead, the narrator returns with this beautifully poignant closing thought. Some love stories are completed by being together. Others live forever as a beautiful feeling. This brilliantly challenges our traditional expectations of a physical, conventional happy ending. We're constantly taught that if a couple doesn't end up together, the story is a tragedy, right? Or a failure. But the text proposes a really compelling alternative reality, that a feeling can be a destination all on its own. The affection, the care, the selfless dedication, those things don't just evaporate because the logistics didn't work out.
So the crucial point is neatly summarized in the text's final line. They were in love, and that was their story. It strips away all the conditional requirements we usually attach to romance. They didn't date, they didn't marry, but their love, despite being physically unfulfilled and largely unspoken, was entirely real, valid, and timeless. The emotion itself is the complete story. The connection they shared at that park bench changed them both, and honestly, that is enough. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a lingering thought that speaks directly to the core of Aaron and Mia's journey. Is a love story complete even if they never end up together? Can a shared silence, a selfless wish for someone's happiness, and a tearful goodbye constitute a perfect romance? It's a question that challenges everything we think we know about connection, and one that proves the most powerful words are often the ones we only feel. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the unspoken.